how does one deal with small desires? No, I wouldn't say desires that one sees as a desire. For example, watching a rom-com or buying a set of earrings, and you're looking at it, you know it, and you know that, hey, this is kind of a waste of time, or this is not something that I need. There is one part of you that knows that desires are never fulfilled. They kind of just add fuel to more desires. And the other part, the mind, it says, okay, the mind just wants to get amused. And so does one give into those small, not very damaging, I would say, but do they add fuel, or should one just look at it and objectively, and if you look at it hard enough, they just dissolve and you let it go?
Yeah, great question. Something that is relevant for all of us, and so I'm glad we'll be able to talk about this. We often say, be entirely devoted to truth, right? Be attached to nothing, and prioritize your spiritual quest above everything. Recognize your impersonal nature. Yet at the same time, we also say, live a totally normal life. And a totally normal life is just whatever is feeling most natural for you. And that includes going here, doing that, buying this, just relating personally, work, leisure, enjoyment, boredom or pain. It includes all of that. So with, you know, the, when the more you start to realize who you truly are, and the more you start to realize that no desire brings fulfillment, and the less and less attached you are to your plan for life, the more you just play the game of desire, meaning, yeah, a whole day is full of like little tiny desires. As you said, like these are just like harmless things. It's like in a way, in one way, desire is like the wind of life. It directs your personal journey, like today, what you wish to do, what you're finding enjoyable. Oh, I want to watch this movie, or I want to read this book, or I want to watch, go here. So notice that there's no harm in that desire. Desire is the movement of life. Desire only becomes problematic when you know when it becomes problematic. Like when you rest
Mhm.
your entire being in it, you have a feeling of I can't live without it. You really have a feeling of like that future will be better. Like when you're totally lost in the ignorance of desire and pursuing that desire at all costs and trying to force it into existence and hating life until that's when desire becomes problematic, when it's full of ego. But like other than that, desire is just the wind of life and it takes you into many beautiful directions. There's nothing wrong with it. So as long as you are without attachment, desire is not a problem. So yes, do whatever you feel like you want to do. If you like a set of earrings, you want to buy them, buy them. You want to watch a movie or you want to go to this vacation, like you do all of that. Just live a totally personal life, you know? And sometimes we can observe why we desire what we desire. That can also reveal a lot about desire. If you only want to buy the pair of earrings because you want to impress your friend, that's not going to bring you happiness. It's going to bring you more pain. If you, yeah, you want to do something just because of societal pressure, or you want to like, these types of things are egoic. You want to be bigger than somebody. You think it will prove someone wrong. Like these will
Yeah.
never really make you happy. These will only create more pain. So these things we can entirely let go of if we are able to in the moment. But other than that, these small things are harmless. Even if, let's say today you wanted to like start your, you are just maybe like, let's say you make, amazing pillows. That's your craft. And you want to start a pillow business and you feel like, this is what I want to do with my life. And but that's your desire, right? And desire is bringing you into that direction because that's your passion. That's just what feels like makes you most in like you enjoy most, you love most, how you love spending your time. There's nothing wrong with that either. That's also just the wind of life taking you there. And but now let's say you start becoming, attached to this idea of exactly what you want your pillow business to look like, how you want it to unfold, and exactly in what time frame and what you're going to get out of it. Oh my God, I'm going to start to become rich off my pillow business and I'm going to be better than others and that's going to be an amazing future. That's where starts being problematic. So let just desire be the wind that takes you here and there. And, it's like an enjoyment of life. It is a directing of life, directing it to be what it needs to be. Without ego, without attachment, it is not a problem.
Mm.
How does that resonate?
Good, but it's still like the mind will come up with, oh, you have this free time. Maybe it's better to read a text, a spiritual text, or maybe I
Not
should just sit
always.
and
Not
meditate.
always. You should see for yourself, like if
Yes,
the like what just feels relevant for that time, right? Like if you feel you have
yes,
done enough spiritual practice for the day, like focused spiritual practice, if you have sat in meditation, because intense spiritual practice has to alternate with rest.
yeah,
It's not that, oh, if you have that free time and you actually sit in meditation more and more and more, that like, oh, that you're gonna get somewhere faster. No, not like that. Because yeah, rest and practice has to alternate.
yes.
Total spiritual intense focus versus also total personal living has to alternate. Like sometimes allow yourself to be fully personal without any
Mhm.
spiritual practice. When it's time to watch a movie, just like forget about your spiritual path altogether. It's like total immersion in life. Because I think so. When I started to like experiment with this, what I found is that first, it was only a problem because I saw personal enjoyment and personal living separate from spiritual practice. Now it creates a division.
Yeah.
And then it creates stress and guilt around personal living. And it feels like the opposite of spiritual practice. But when we start to just allow ourselves to be free in that manner, and sometimes even entirely forget about spirituality, the recognition and practice starts to surface, even in just the personal moments, to whatever degree it needs to. And then it's just guilt-free being. And even those personal experiences will like reveal so many things without them being traditional spiritual practice. But look, this is the purpose of your whole life now. So even when you're just
Mhm.
personally enjoying things, like it will end up being spiritual practice.
Mhm.
I watch a lot of movies with my wife. She loves movies and shows. And I noticed that like in the beginning I had great resistance to it. Gradually, as I also started enjoying it and just started to, that's like one of our main activities together sometimes. I will sometimes see spiritual lessons come from the things we're watching and that are totally unrelated.
Mhm.
Sometimes it brings
Mhm.
insight. Sometimes when I'm doing something totally random with my wife or even playing with my baby or something, it'll just bring some totally spontaneous recognition or insight or just a moment of like, gratitude and presence without me forcing it, without me thinking I'm doing spiritual practice, but it's just natural. So, yeah, when you feel it's appropriate to meditate more, do it. But when,
Yeah.
you just want to enjoy, don't feel that that's separate from your spiritual practice. It allows a
Mhm.
guilt-free going away about things.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. That helps a lot.
Yeah, thank you very much. If you need help taking your practice deeper, dissolving mind identification, and becoming more established in your true nature, consider joining our school using the link in the description. Thanks. Have a great day.